The dense Brazilian rainforest hummed with life, its thick canopy blocking most of the sunlight. Jaewon Park moved carefully, his boots quietly stepping over tangled roots and fallen branches. At 32, he was an experienced field researcher, specializing in environmental ecosystems. His backpack contained scientific equipment, water, and emergency supplies. The morning air felt heavy and humid, insects buzzed around him, and distant bird calls echoed through the green landscape. Jaewon checked his GPS device, marking his current location. He was tracking rare plant species, a mission funded by a small environmental research institute in Seoul. Suddenly, a bright light erupted across the sky. It wasn't like lightning or a meteor. This was different. The light moved with a strange, calculated precision, cutting through the forest canopy like a knife. Jaewon stopped, his hand instinctively reaching for his binoculars. A massive object crashed through the trees, sending branches and leaves flying in all directions. The ground trembled. Animals scattered in panic. Monkeys screeching, birds taking flight, smaller creatures darting into hidden burrows. Jaewon's heart raced. Something extraordinary was happening. Approaching the crash site required caution. He moved slowly, using his wilderness training to navigate the disturbed forest floor. Broken trees lay everywhere, their trunks splintered and scorched. A strange metallic object, clearly not from Earth, sat in a massive crater. The object wasn't round or traditional spacecraft-shaped. It looked organic, almost like a living machine. Its surface shimmered with strange colors that seemed to change with every angle of light. Steam and strange chemical odors rose from the wreckage. Then, he saw her. A figure emerged from the damaged craft, not human but humanoid. Her movements were both graceful and painful. She wore something between armor and clothing, with intricate designs that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Her skin had a slight bluish silver tone, with complex patterns that looked like natural camouflage. She collapsed near a fallen tree, her breath labored. Jaewon could see she was injured, multiple wounds visible through her damaged protective suit. Her eyes, large and intelligent, scanned the environment, with a mixture of confusion and survival instinct. For a moment, they stared at each other. Two beings from completely different worlds, brought together by an impossible circumstance. Jaewon's scientific mind raced with questions. Who was she? Where did she come from? What technology allowed her to travel through space? The alien tried to move but winced in pain. Her advanced suit, once pristine, now looked torn and damaged. Strange technological components sparked occasionally, indicating serious system failures. Jaewon knew he had a choice. He could run, document his discovery, or help this clearly wounded being. His humanitarian instincts, combined with years of fieldwork in challenging environments, made the decision simple. He approached slowly, hands open to show he meant no harm. The alien watched him, her eyes displaying a complex mix of emotions: pain, caution, and something that resembled hope. "I'm not going to hurt you," Jaewon said softly, knowing she probably couldn't understand his words. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. Insects stopped buzzing. The distant sounds of wildlife faded. It was as if the entire ecosystem recognized something extraordinary was happening. Jaewon's emergency medical kit would prove crucial. Whatever technology this alien possessed, she was injured and needed help. His years of wilderness training had prepared him for unexpected situations, but nothing could have prepared him for this moment. First contact wasn't happening in a government facility or a high-tech laboratory. It was happening here, in the middle of the Brazilian rainforest, with a wounded alien and a Korean researcher who was simply in the right place at the most incredible moment of human history. The alien's hand twitched, revealing a small device. Jaewon couldn't tell if it was a weapon, a communication tool, or something else entirely. One thing was certain: nothing would be the same after this moment. Jaewon carefully approached the wounded alien. Her breathing was irregular, and strange electrical sparks flickered from her damaged suit. He knew medical intervention was critical, regardless of her origin. Using his wilderness first aid kit, He assessed her injuries. Her body structure was different from humans, multiple internal systems that seemed complex and delicate. Blood, or what looked like blood, was a silvery blue color pooling around her damaged armor. The alien watched him with intense eyes, not fearful, but calculating. She understood he was attempting to help, despite their profound differences. Her hand moved slightly, revealing a small device embedded near her wrist. Jae-won realized communication would be challenging. The device seemed technological, possibly a translator or communication tool. He pointed to himself. Jae-won, he said slowly, hoping some universal communication might work. The alien's response was unexpected. A soft, musical sound emerged. Not words, but a communication method entirely alien. Complex tones that seemed to carry multiple meanings simultaneously. Night was approaching quickly in the rainforest. Temperature would drop, and dangerous predators would become active. Jae-won knew they needed shelter. Using his survival skills, he quickly constructed a simple protective covering using large leaves, branches, and his emergency tarp. He carefully moved the alien, who seemed surprisingly light. Her breathing stabilized as he created a makeshift medical area. Strange technology on her suit continued sparking, indicating ongoing system failures. From his backpack, Jae-won retrieved purified water and basic medical supplies. The alien watched every movement, her eyes tracking him with remarkable intelligence. When he offered water, she hesitated momentarily before accepting. The water seemed to have an immediate positive effect. Her breathing became more regular, and the sparking from her suit decreased. Jae-won realized her biology might be more adaptable than he initially thought. A distant sound made them both freeze. Something was moving through the forest, mechanical and deliberate. The alien's entire body tensed. Her hand moved toward her damaged suit, revealing what looked like a defensive mechanism. Jae-won understood immediately. Whatever crashed her spacecraft wasn't an accident. She was being pursued. Using his wilderness training, he quickly camouflaged their shelter. Mud, leaves, and branches created an almost invisible covering. The alien watched his actions with growing respect. Her wrist device suddenly projected a holographic map. Complex systems and strange symbols flickered. Star charts, communication networks, and what seemed like pursuit trajectories. Jae-won realized she was tracking something. Communication remained challenging, but understanding was growing. Simple gestures, careful movements, and mutual survival instincts were creating a strange bond. The mechanical sounds outside grew closer. Something was scanning the forest. Precise, methodical, hunting. The alien's hand touched Jae-won's arm, a universal gesture of warning and connection. Her suit began healing itself, nanotechnological systems slowly repairing damage. Jae-won watched in fascination. Advanced technology working like living organisms, rebuilding and adapting. Night fell completely. The rainforest transformed. Sounds changed, becoming more mysterious and dangerous. Predators became active. Insects created complex musical landscapes. Their shelter became a tiny island of safety in a wild, unpredictable environment. The alien seemed to relax slightly. Her breathing synchronized with the forest's rhythm. Jae-won realized they were now connected by something deeper than language or origin, pure survival. Her name, communicated through those musical tones, sounded like aria, at least in human hearing. She pointed at him, repeating Jae-won perfectly, her pronunciation precise. Outside their shelter, scanning devices moved carefully. Something was hunting. Something wanted to capture or destroy the alien. But for now, in this moment, they were safe. Jae-won checked his emergency radio. No signal. No communication with the outside world. Just him, an alien named Arya, and a rainforest full of mysteries. The forest became a battlefield of silence and tension. Mechanical drones sliced through vegetation, their metallic bodies, reflecting moonlight. Jae-won and Arya remained perfectly still, understanding that movement could mean discovery. Scanning beams cut through the dense foliage like laser knives. These were not Earth technologies. They moved with intelligent precision, searching for specific energy signatures. Arya's damaged suit continued to emit low-level signals, creating a dangerous beacon. Jaewon's wilderness training became their primary defense. He understood the forest's language, how leaves moved, how sounds traveled, where shadows could hide. Using mud and local plant materials, he began covering Arya's suit, reducing its technological visibility. She watched him with growing amazement. Her advanced civilization had complex technologies, but his primitive camouflage techniques were proving surprisingly effective. A simple concept of blending with nature was outsmarting their advanced pursuit systems. The drones moved closer. Their mechanical sounds created unnatural disruptions in the forest's natural ecosystem. Animals sensed the danger. Monkeys went silent. Birds stopped chirping. The entire forest held its breath. Arya's wrist device projected a silent holographic map. Red markers indicated pursuing units, at least 6 different technological tracking systems converging on their location. She touched Jaewon's arm, communicating urgent warning through a universal gesture. Jaewon understood strategy. He began creating diversions, small traps using local materials, strings made from plant fibers, carefully positioned branches, mud-covered areas designed to create false trails. Each trap was a potential misdirection. One drone swept particularly close. Its scanning beam passed directly over their shelter. Jaewon held his breath. Arya remained absolutely motionless. Her body seemed to adapt, matching the surrounding environment's temperature and texture. The pursuit was calculated and ruthless. These were not random hunters but professional tracking units with precise technological capabilities. They wanted Arya, and they would destroy everything to capture her. Strange energy weapons occasionally discharged in the distance, cutting through trees and vegetation. The forest responded with its own resistance, falling branches, complex sound redirections, natural camouflage mechanisms. Jaewon realized they were playing a complex survival game. His understanding of the environment became their primary weapon. Where technology failed, natural intelligence could succeed. Arya's suit slowly recovered, nanotechnological systems rebuilding damaged components. She began using her own technologies, more subtly, creating small energy disruptions that confused the pursuing drones. A drone crashed nearby, its systems suddenly malfunctioning. Jaewon's carefully placed natural trap had worked perfectly. The mechanical hunter fell, creating a small explosion that momentarily illuminated the forest. Their survival depended on unpredictability. Every movement calculated, every decision precise. Jaewon understood they were no longer just surviving. They were fighting back. Arya's communication became more complex. Musical tones mixed with subtle hand movements creating a language beyond words. She was teaching him, showing him strategies from her civilization that merged with his natural survival skills. The pursuing units began to fragment. Some drones disappeared, confused by the complex environment. Others continued searching but with decreasing efficiency. Their technological superiority was being challenged by something they couldn't understand. Pure adaptive intelligence. Night transformed into early morning. Mist rose from the forest floor, creating additional natural camouflage. The pursuit continued but with diminishing intensity. Jaewon looked at Arya. She looked back. No words were necessary. They had become a team. 2 beings from different worlds united by survival and an unexpected connection. The forest kept its secrets. The pursuing units continued their hunt. But for now, they remained hidden. A human researcher and an alien queen, waiting, watching, surviving. The forest transformed into a strategic battlefield. Jaewon's understanding of the environment merged with Arya's advanced technological knowledge. They were no longer just surviving, they were fighting back. Mechanical sounds continued surrounding them. Pursuing drones moved systematically, scanning every inch of the dense vegetation. But Jaewon had been preparing, Simple materials became sophisticated defensive mechanisms. Using vine networks, he created complex tripwire systems. Branches became potential projectile traps. Mud and local clay were strategically positioned to disrupt scanning technologies. Each preparation was calculated, precise. Arya's damaged suit continued healing. Nanotechnological systems rebuilt internal components, creating a subtle but powerful defensive mechanism. Her wrist device projected complex holographic maps, tracking pursuing units with incredible precision. One drone approached their hidden location. J1's carefully constructed trap activated. A precisely balanced branch mechanism swept through the air, striking the mechanical hunter. The drone spiraled, circuits disrupted by a simple wooden mechanism. Arya watched with increasing respect. Her civilization considered humans primitive, but this human demonstrated strategic intelligence that challenged her understanding. Every movement was a calculated response, every action a potential weapon. The pursuing units began experiencing systematic failures. Some drones crashed unexpectedly. Others lost tracking capabilities. The forest itself seemed to be fighting. Alongside them, natural environments disrupting technological systems. Communication between J1 and Arya evolved. Musical tones, hand gestures, and subtle body movements created a language beyond words. They understood each other's intentions without speaking. Another drone approached. J1 used mud-covered branches to create a false heat signature. The mechanical hunter followed the distraction, moving away from their actual location. Arya's technological understanding enhanced his primitive strategies. The pursuit became a complex dance. Technological hunters versus natural intelligence. Advanced scanning systems versus pure survival instincts. Each moment was a potential turning point. Arya's suit revealed unexpected capabilities. Small energy disruption fields began emanating, creating localized technological interference. Drones near her location experienced sudden system failures. J1 realized they were becoming more than survivor and rescued alien. They were a team. Two beings from different worlds, united by an impossible circumstance. Night transformed the forest into a shadowy battlefield. Mechanical sounds mixed with natural wildlife. Pursuing units continued their systematic search but with decreasing efficiency. One large drone attempted a direct approach. J1's complex trap network activated. Vines pulled, branches swept, mud-covered areas created false readings. The mechanical hunter crashed spectacularly, breaking into multiple pieces. Arya's communication became more complex. She began showing J1 advanced defensive techniques, how to read energy signatures, how to understand technological movement patterns. He absorbed the information quickly, adapting faster than she expected. The pursuing units started fragmenting. Some returned to their primary vessels. Others continued searching, but with clear confusion. Their technological superiority was being systematically dismantled. A strange alliance formed. Human survival instincts merged with alien technological understanding. They were no longer just hiding, they were actively resisting. Morning light began breaking through the forest canopy. Mist rose from the ground, creating natural camouflage. The pursuit continued, but with significantly reduced intensity. J1 looked at Arya. She looked back. No words were necessary. They had become something more than rescuer and rescued. They were survivors, fighters, a team. The forest kept its secrets. Pursuing units continued their diminishing hunt, but J1 and Arya remained hidden, waiting, watching, resisting. Their impossible journey was transforming into something unexpected, a resistance against impossible odds, a story of survival that would challenge everything both their worlds understood about intelligence, technology, and connection. A massive spacecraft descended through the morning sky, cutting through clouds with silent precision. The forest below seemed to pause, sensing something extraordinary was happening. J1 and Arya watched from their hidden location, both knowing this was a moment that would change everything. Arya's damaged suit fully activated, projecting a complex communication signal. The approaching vessel responded, not with weapons, but with a series of musical tones that seemed to vibrate through the entire forest. Jaewon felt something change in the atmosphere. Metallic panels opened on the spacecraft's underside. Instead of soldiers or weapons, a soft light emerged. Arya touched Jaewon's arm, her gesture a mixture of gratitude and something deeper, respect. The forest around them began to shift. Mechanical tracking units that had been pursuing them suddenly powered down. Birds returned to their songs. The natural world seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Arya's communication device translated her story. She was more than just a survivor. She was a royal leader from a distant civilization. The pursuit had been a complex political operation, involving multiple competing factions within her own world. Jaewon had done more than rescue her. He had demonstrated a level of adaptive intelligence that challenged everything her civilization understood about human potential. His simple survival skills had outmaneuvered advanced technological systems. The spacecraft's landing created a massive clearing. Trees bent, leaves scattered, but the destruction was precise, controlled. This was no invasion. This was a diplomatic arrival. Figures emerged, not soldiers, but representatives. Their bodies seemed to shift between solid and energy states. Arya stepped forward, her damaged suit now fully repaired. She spoke in those complex musical tones, presenting Jaewon as her savior. Something unexpected happened. The representatives looked at Jaewon with genuine respect. Not as a primitive being, but as a strategic intelligence worthy of recognition. Arya's communication revealed the full story. Her civilization had long monitored Earth, considering humans a developing species, but Jaewon had proven their potential in ways their scientific observations never could. The spacecraft's representatives made an unprecedented offer. Jaewon would be invited as a diplomatic representative, not just of his research institute, but of human potential. His actions had changed their entire understanding of humanity. Jaewon's life would never be the same. A simple research expedition had transformed into first contact, a moment that would reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Arya approached him, her gesture a mixture of friendship and professional respect. She touched a device to his communication tablet, downloading what seemed like centuries of technological and cultural information. The forest witnessed this moment. Animals watched. Plants seemed to lean closer. The entire ecosystem recognized something extraordinary was happening. Diplomatic protocols began immediately. Communication systems activated. Jaewon's simple research equipment became a bridge between two civilizations. His wilderness survival skills had become humanity's first true diplomatic weapon. The spacecraft's representatives began explaining the complex political landscape that had led to Arya's pursuit. Multiple alien civilizations had been watching Earth, waiting for a moment of true potential. Jaewon had provided that moment, not through military might or technological superiority, but through pure adaptive intelligence. His ability to survive, to strategize, to understand and work with his environment had impressed them more than any technological demonstration. Arya looked at him with what could only be described as friendship. Two beings from different worlds united by an impossible circumstance. A human researcher and an alien royal leader, connected by survival and unexpected destiny. The spacecraft prepared for departure, but this was not an ending. This was a beginning. Humanity's first true diplomatic connection with an advanced civilization. Jaewon understood something profound. The universe was bigger, more complex, and more incredible than anyone had ever imagined. And he was now a part of that incredible story. The forest remained silent, witnesses to a moment that would change everything.